First organized in 1824, Hendricks County was named for William Hendricks, then governor of the young state. From its humble beginnings, Hendricks County has risen to become the second fastest growing county in Indiana. Located in the heart of the county, just south of the Danville Town Square, lies the Hendricks County Historical Museum. The museum is dedicated to preserving important artifacts that help to tell the story of the residents of Hendricks County. Their collection includes artifacts from the Central Normal College, a space dedicated to military artifacts, and a parlor room decorated with late 18th century furnishings. The Cascade Middle School PACE class has come to the museum to investigate little-known artifacts in their collection and help to share their story with the world. Come and join us as we examine this week's episode of The Secrets on the Shelf.
For our artifact, we chose the CNC Olympic-ish basketball trophy. The trophy was earned by the CNC basketball team because of their undefeated season. On the trophy, there are two men. One is in a triple threat position and the other is guarding him. It says undefeated IIC and champions 1936. The coach of this basketball team is S.H. Leitzman. Basketball originally was a lot different than it is now.
The creator of basketball is named James Naismith. The rules were what made the game so much more different. For example, you only had 2 fouls back then, and now you have 5. You had to pass it from the spot that you caught it from. If either side makes 3 consecutive fouls, it counts as a goal for the other team. These are just some examples of the different rules back then. Basketball has changed drastically over the years.
Here are some facts about the team. The Central Normal College's basketball gym was built in 1936. Their team name was the Warriors, and their colors were purple and gray. Central Normal College went undefeated and won the Indiana Intercollegiate Conference in 1936. They had a 16-0 record. They then entered the Olympic trials. They beat Cincinnati 36-26 in Indianapolis, then traveled to Chicago where they defeated Ball State 46-23 and Northwestern 29-26 before losing to DePaul 41-36.
In 1936 was also the first time basketball made an appearance in the Olympics. This year, the Olympics were held in Berlin. On the trophy, it says that it is an Olympic-ish basketball trophy. This is because they weren't an official Olympic basketball team, but they played in the Olympic trials and won most of the games, so they ended up getting the trophy, even though most of the people did not end up making it to the Olympics.
Hi, I'm Toby, Sophia from the latest sports action. I'm here with the CNC basketball team captain, otherwise known as Jingles.
Hey, it's good to be here.
So you guys are undefeated thus far. Are you nervous to be playing DePaul in the Olympic trials?
No, I really don't think we have a reason to be nervous. We've had a pretty good season so far, and I just don't see why we need to be nervous.
Do you guys think you have a good chance of winning this game?
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good chance. If we come to play and we work together, I think we got this.
Do you think DePaul is a well-rounded basketball team?
Yeah, I think DePaul is pretty tough, but we're better. We got this.
Good luck to you today.
Thank you.
That wraps up our pregame interview. Good luck to both teams, and I'll see you after the game. So I'm here with Jingles for the post-game interview. Do you guys feel like you underestimated DePaul or just didn't play as well as you should have?
Yeah, I think we definitely underestimated them. We played pretty well, but they were definitely a better team than we all thought they would be.
So how do you feel about you playing individually?
I think I played pretty well. I could have done a little better maybe, but I think I overall played really well.
All right, thank you. Well, good luck to you guys next season.
Thank you.
Our artifact for this year's Secret on the Shelf project is a bag of Klondike flour.
This was an important and successful flour milling business from 1879 to 1939.
Located on what used to be known as Klondike Street, now recently referred to as Lincoln Street on the southern outskirts of Danville near the train tracks.
The flour mill was opened in 1879 by a man named C.E. Howell. Although the milling business wasn't an empire, it was a very successful and flourishing business in the small town of Danville. Flour was mainly sold to bakeries and farmers nearby. Although being along the train tracks allowed opportunities for flour to be sold far beyond the flour mill in Danville.
At the mill, they sold Gold Nugget and Jack Frost flour. The flour bag itself is made of the same material used today, which is a paper-like material.
As well as the colors of the bag being red, yellow, and white, as well as a picture of children playing outside at the top of the bag.
Sadly, the mill was sold to Co-op in 1936 and finally closed down in 1939. Although little is known about the mill itself and the founder's original story, we have decided that we will take this time to inform you on the inspiration of the Klondike flour mill, the Klondike Gold Rush. In the following skit, we will describe a man that goes by the name of Alex McDonald and how he struck gold during this time.
In 1898, the Klondike Gold Rush started. 100,000 souls set out on this journey, with only 30,000 actually making the trek. While only 10,000 struck gold during this time, Alex McDonald was one of the lucky souls who struck gold.
Alex McDonald grew up in Nova Scotia and moved to Yukon as a poor man in 1895 in hopes to get a lucky break.
He bought half a share claim on Eldorado Creek for a sack of flour and a side of bacon. Eldorado Creek is a waterway on the Seward Peninsula in the state of Alaska, 14 miles west of Solomon.
McDonald hired 2 men to work his claim in Eldorado Creek. This claim ended up producing $5,000 a day. McDonald ended up getting $16,000 from this claim without ever lifting a finger. Money was split up between his workers from the claim. McDonald was fine with this loss in potential money because no work was needed from him.
With the money from each claim, he continued to grow his venture. Buying claims and hiring workers, he was getting riches without breaking a sweat for himself.
In 1899, McDonald traveled to England at 45 years old. He met and then quickly popped the question to a 20-year-old daughter of a policeman.
When McDonald returned from his wedding to overseas business ventures, they were in decline. This was because of all the surface gold was quickly mined out. With the surface gold done, this made it much harder to reach bigger deposits deeper underground with the tools available.
Alex McDonald, like many other miners, thought his fortune would always last. Sadly, that isn't the case.
As the years went on, McDonald continued to make excessive claim purchases. Many claims ended up being worthless. This was because of the lack of gold and resources needed to find new deposits. While the actual gold rush ended in 1899, people like Alex McDonald didn't stop. He continued making excessive claim purchases while getting nothing in return.
Alex McDonald died of a heart attack while chopping wood near his cabin in the Clear Creek area in 1909.
At the time, he had roughly $30,000 in investments, but that was nowhere near enough to cover his debts from the many claims he had bought.
Although many profited from the Klondike Gold Rush, some people's fortune was short-lived due to the lack of knowledgeable decisions, Alex McDonald being one of those people. Alex McDonald was buried in the cemetery of Dawson City.
The artifact that we chose to research is a piece of metal that was driven into a tree in 1948. The metal artifact is a little over 20 inches long and 4 inches wide. The origins of the artifact are unknown, but we speculate that it was part of a vehicle that had been struck by the tornadoes and had been ejected and driven into a nearby tree.
On Good Friday, March 26, 1948, a group of tornadoes swept through Clay, Putnam, and Hendricks counties. The tornadoes were classified as an F4 on the scale of tornado intensity, which ranges from F0 to F5.
The F4 classification means a wind speed ranging from 207 to 260 miles per hour with devastating damage. The tornadoes destroyed over 40 farms in Putnam County, in which it also destroyed over 80% of the town of Coatesville.
The metal was wedged into the tree for almost 70 years due to the tornadoes, as well as many buildings such as Danville Church and buildings all along the streets were completely destroyed.
During the Good Friday tornadoes, 19 people were killed and over 200 people were injured. The citizens of 3 counties were hit by these tornadoes. The group of tornadoes started at 5:10 a.m. and lasted all throughout the day, destroying 23.25 miles of land before its final ending point.
In this next skit, we are going to be portraying what it would have looked like if you were encountered by the Good Friday tornado. We are going to be showing what housing would look like, the outcome of the tornado, and the toll it took on the economy. We are going to be showing this skit from the perspective of those who have survived the tornado and are going to look out for others. Alright, did you grab everything we need before we start heading to a safer location?
Yeah, I believe so. We should head that way so we can get ahead of the tornado.
Wait a second, do you hear that?
Yeah, it sounds like the tornado's coming. We gotta get out of here.
Run!
Okay, is the tornado finally over?
I think so. I don't hear anything.
Yeah, neither do I. It's a little too quiet, don't you think?
Yeah, we should probably go outside and look for the others to see if they're okay.
Okay, let me grab our belongings and then we can go out and check the destruction.
Alright, let's hurry. There might be people who are injured and need help.
Alright, I got everything. Let's get out of here.
Oh wow, there's been a lot of damage. I don't think I can see a building for miles.
There doesn't seem to be many people around here either. I hope they all got out safely.
We should try and find people to make sure they're okay.
I agree. Hopefully we don't come across anyone who didn't make it.
All through the following day, when the tornado ended, the people of Coatesville were searching through the debris for clothes or lost valuables. Warm food was dispensed by the American Red Crossing throughout the counties due to the lack of buildings and food left behind.
The Good Friday tornadoes caused major damage that took years to repair after the tornado struck on March 26, 1948. This is also known as Good Friday.
The Pepperbox pistol was a single-shot pistol that was invented by a man named Ethan Allen in the 1830s. He was working on a cane gun for a doctor when he imagined an underhammer pocket rifle. Ethan Allen had experience with metal making and manufacturing because he used to work as a cutlery maker. When the gun was first released, it was at such a good price at around $10 that it was bought by many people and became a very common gun in the West. When this gun was first created, it was nicknamed the Gun of the West because it was used by a lot of cowboys. Even though this gun was so popular, it wasn't used in the military because it was mainly close range because the aim was very bad.
The downside of this weapon was that it was a single shot at the time, which meant the shooter had to rotate the chamber manually after every bullet, and this took a while. Besides the outlaws, the Pepperbox pistol was used by the ladies of the evening, and even some lawmen used it. This gun was also smaller, which allowed gamblers and prisoners to escape situations with the pistol because no one else was aware that they had it. This gun was only popular for a couple years because the first multi-shot firearm was introduced in 1835, which became more popular than the Pepperbox pistol. Even though the Pepperbox pistols are mainly forgotten by most people, they were still one of the best weapons back in the 1830s.
In this upcoming skit, you will see an instance in which the Pepperbox pistol was used during a confrontation of two men.
Gosh darn it! Yeah, get out of here. What is that? I know you cheated.
I think it was just luck of the draw.
Really? Show me your cards. There's no way you got 4 behind that fast.
I don't know, just give me your money.
I'm not giving you money, you cheated.
How'd I cheat?
Because you can't just get 4 behind that fast.
Fine, let's settle this behind the building.
Gunfight, fist fight, what is it?
It's only at 7 o'clock.
Alright, I'll be there. You better be ready.
I will be.
Dang, where is he? Ah, there you are. You finally showed up.
Of course I would.
Yep. So, I don't want to be here all day, so if we could just get this over with, it would be nice.
It's gonna be over really fast.
Alright, let's get this then. Oh. You're under arrest for the shooting of George Turpin.
Well, he had it coming either way.
You, M.S. Mosby, will be charged with unlawful shooting at Mr. George Turpin. You shot Mr. Turpin in the neck with a non-fatal bullet with a Pepperbox gun after a heated argument. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, in that case, we're going to give you 2 options. You can either stay in jail for 7 months and pay a $500 fine, or we will allow you to go and join the Army.
I'm gonna go join the army, Your Honor.
All right, in that case dismissed.
We chose the Buddy Lee advertising doll to do our research on. The dimensions of the Buddy Lee doll are 12.5 inches tall. Buddy Lee is made up of hard plastic. The dolls generally have brown hair, big black and white eyes, along with a mouth formed into a smile. The Buddy Lee dolls are dressed in Lee attire. The dolls are most commonly found in Lee jeans or overalls. Sometimes the dolls are also accessorized with hats.
Buddy Lee's design was stolen from the Gem Toys Company. The original design was used for chubby kids' dolls, but Lee liked the design so much that they made their very own doll. Buddy Lee was one of the earliest marketing techniques for Lee jeans. His purpose was to showcase how durable Lee jeans were. The commercials presented scenarios in which Buddy Lee should have been extremely damaged, but he came out of the situation without a thing wrong with him. These commercials started appearing in 1929, but only became popular in the 1940s. This was the time when Lee's sales boosted due to the younger audience being more intrigued. The Buddy Lee dolls were sold from 1920 to 1960. The commercials also helped boost the dolls' sales.
What year was Buddy Lee created?
Around the 1920s.
What was the inspiration for this creation?
Buddy Lee's idea was actually stolen from another toy company, and he was based off the Buddy Lee dolls.
Some people speculate that Buddy Lee has a sister. What do you think about these claims?
I think it is false, because Buddy Lee's sister is just not in the equation, and it's not existing.
Thank you. What is Buddy Lee used to market towards? Who?
Usually towards a younger audience, teens and kids.
Okay. Can you explain production and the thought that comes with the commercials?
Well, in the writer's room, they have all these creative ideas, like Buddy Lee getting blown up, Buddy Lee getting run over, and then somehow Buddy Lee comes out, and it's really because of the jeans and the Lee attire.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he survives.
Awesome. Do you think we can see a clip of the new commercial you guys are coming up with?
We usually like to keep the commercials on the down low until we release them out to the world.
Thank you for your time.
I wanna be like Buddy Lee and help out everyone I see. I'd go to coffee with Chuck D like Buddy Lee, but at times it occurs to me it might hurt to be like Buddy Lee.
The Cartersburg one-room school building was the first Liberty Township organized high school, built in 1897. Students from Liberty Township that wanted a higher education than 8th grade went to this school. The graduating classes were small at first, including the first graduation class consisting of 6 students. Over time, the classes got bigger and bigger. During the years the school was open, it took on many changes of education level top there. After they moved the high school grades to Clayton in 1901, the large building in Cartersburg educated local students only to the 8th grade.
The tower-shaped corner room was not needed for a classroom, so they used it to play basketball. Some of the teachers there were Elizabeth Pike, who was the teacher for grades 4 and 5. Dolly McCary taught grades 1, 2, and 3. Commencement was held May 19, 1949 for the last 8th grade graduating class from the Cartersburg School, consisting of John Edwards, Billy Harris, Martha Snodgrass, Alfred Stevenson, and Imogen Tomlinson. The next school year, grades 7 and 8 were taught in Clayton, leaving only the local elementary students at Cartersburg. Later, grades 1, 3, and 5 were at Cartersburg, and grades 2, 4, and 6 were taught in Belleville through the 1963 to 1964 school year.
Are you ready for graduation tonight?
Oh yeah, we worked so hard for this.
Yeah. I just really hope high school's way better than middle school.
Oh yeah.
Good morning, students.
Good morning, Mrs. Thompson.
Alright, give me just a minute to take attendance here. Molly. Here. McKenna.
Here.
Alright, let's begin class. Students, please take out your textbooks and turn to page 53. Today, we're going to continue talking about geometry. Can anyone answer the question on the board? Molly?
Each side of a square pyramid is 10 meters.
Correct. Can anyone answer the next question? McKenna?
Each side of the cube is 5.4 meters.
Alright, class, you are dismissed. Don't forget your graduation tonight. Have a good day.
You too.
Welcome, students and family, to the graduation of our 8th graders. When I say your name, come up and get your certificate.
Here we go. High school, here we come.
Molly. McKenna.
Before the Codesburg School was built, there was a school with a log structure that took its place. This was the first school to be located in Liberty Township. The building was in good condition when it was torn down, but pushed in on itself to the basement. Today, some of the remains of the foundation stones remain along the original steps to the building. The school operated from 1897 to 1964.
Clayton, Amo, and Stylesville high schools consolidated in the fall of 1964 into Cascade High School and the Mill Creek Community School Corporation. The Cartersburg School closed after that, and the students in grades 1 through 6 attend Clayton or Hazelwood elementary schools.
Our project is on the prosthetic leg of Hiram T. Storm, who was a veteran in the American Civil War. This prosthetic leg is around 150 years old. It is made out of wood and leather. The leg is around 30 inches tall and is about 5 inches wide. The prosthetic leg fits on by going up the middle of his thigh and is wrapped around and tightened. It has laces like a shoe that are used to tighten it.
The leg also has a false sock sticking out of the bottom so that the wearer would look more normal and have a more functioning walking ability. It has soft leather on the inside for comfortability against the thigh. Before Storm lost his leg, he was a farmer in Hendricks County and shot rattlesnakes in Putnam County, the place where he was born and inevitably where he would die.
Hiram T. Storm was born and raised on the home farm due to the breaking out of the Civil War. On August 18, 1862, he was enlisted in Company C, 71st Regiment of the Indiana Volunteer Infantry. The next 12 days were probably the most exciting days which has ever happened in the career of Mr. Storm. His regiment in 1863 was transferred to the 6th Indiana Cavalry, and he was rushed to Kentucky on the 30th.
12 days after enlisting, he was engaged in Kentucky at one of the fiercest battles in the war, the Battle of Richmond. Nearly every man in his regiment was captured during the battle. After being captured, the regiment was paroled and sent back to Indianapolis, where they would regroup and form the 6th Indiana Cavalry. During his battle, his leg was critically injured, and his only chance at survival was amputation. He was rushed to a doctor and had his lower leg amputated to save him from infection. He received the state-of-the-art technology of prosthetics for his leg, and soon again, he was able to walk.
My leg. Alright, so I have some bad news. We're going to have to amputate your leg because it was infected with lead poisoning, and we're going to have to amputate it right above your knee. How am I ever going to be able to walk again? So we can give you some state-of-the-art prosthetic leg that you can wear. It'll wrap around right above your upper thigh, and it can let you walk, and it's made out of leather. Alright, when do I get my leg amputated? Right now. Oh boy.
Our artifact is the icebox. The icebox was first invented by Thomas More in 1802. The icebox was typically made of wood with some sort of metal lining. The type of metal was typically zinc or tin. There was a man whose job was to bring ice to these families. His name would be the Iceman, and he would carry the ice with big metal tongs. When the Iceman would deliver the ice, he would use a saw to cut the ice to the correct weight that the family would want. The topmost side would hold the ice, then on the other side was where the family would keep all of the food so it would stay cold, or at least keep it cold until the Iceman comes again.
Thomas More had many jobs, with some of them being a farmer, inventor, entrepreneur, surveyor, and engineer. And he is known today for doing many things, such as inventing the icebox and contributing to several agricultural methods. He was born in Trenton, New Jersey, but he was raised in Brookville, Maryland, a town just outside of Washington, D.C. He lived in Brookville, Maryland for his entire life until he passed away at the age of 62 in Brookville. More worked with many famous political leaders of his time, including Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. He had 4 children of his own, including Mary, Asa, Anne, and Caleb. He taught himself everything he ever needed to know, so he didn't go to school. Moore's grandfather lived in Ireland. Sickness killed 7 of his kids and his wife. He moved to America looking for a better life. When James moved to America, he came with his only child who didn't die, Thomas More Sr., who was Thomas More Jr.'s dad.
In this skit, we will be demonstrating how the icebox was made. The Leonard Refrigerator Company was founded by Charles H. Leonard in 1881 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. When the Leonard Company was recently founded, it was known for making cleanable refrigerators. This means it had removable lining and such, so that you could clean it. After that, they were known for selling electric refrigerators, and by 1925, they were selling 1 of every 5 refrigerators sold.
Fred W. Wolf invented the first refrigerator in 1913. It took the refrigerator about 17 years until it fully took over for the icebox and became the household appliance for keeping things cold. The refrigerator was better than the icebox because it could just keep the items cold all the time and you wouldn't have to constantly buy ice. The Iceman officially disappeared around the 1930s when refrigerators became affordable and popularized. The refrigerator has gone through lots of changes through the years since 1930. When the refrigerator was first invented, it was a big metal box. In the 1930s, when the refrigerator was invented, phones and computers weren't a thing yet. No one had ever thought about them, but nowadays, you can be cooking dinner and playing video games on your fridge at the same time. Samsung has made a digital refrigerator that makes all of this possible.
Our item is the CNC baseball photo. This photo is 11.5 inches long and 8 inches tall. It was taken in 1938 of the CNC Warriors. The team went 3-2, but the year was cut short because the players were being drafted into World War II. Even though the team was always competitive, they never won the championship.
A notable player from CNC history was Big Sam Thompson. He was born in 1860 in Danville, Indiana, and even has a baseball diamond named after him located in Danville. He was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1974. A quick rundown of Sam Thompson's baseball career. Standing at 6'2", 207 pounds, Sam was an absolute monster on the baseball field. He had a 15-year career in the big leagues, a career batting average of .331. He hit 126 home runs in his career, a total of 161 triples, and he stole 232 stolen bases. And in his career, he won the World Series in the year of 1887.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 1974 Baseball Hall of Fame ceremony. Today we will be inducting Sam Thompson into the Hall of Fame. Sam was an incredible player who attended Central Normal College and played for 3 teams in the big leagues. He was the first player in baseball history to hit consecutive bases loaded triples in a baseball game, as well as being the oldest player to ever hit a triple. It was a sad day for the baseball world when he died on November 7, 1922. Robert James will officially be inducting him. Robert, please come up to the stage.
Thank you all so much for coming here to celebrate the amazing baseball career of Sam Thompson. Not only was he an amazing player, he was also an amazing person. I'm very honored to be able to induct this amazing baseball player into the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame baseball career of Sam Thompson ended in 1906, where he spent his last days with his wife, Ida Marasha, in Detroit, Michigan, where he became a U.S. Marshal and then U.S. Court Bailiff. In 1922, Sam sadly died of a heart attack, where the baseball world was in shock.
Our project is about Abel D. Strait and Lavina Strait. Abel D. Strait was a tall and rugged-looking man that served in the Army. He was eventually captured and sent to the Libby prison, which was one of the most secure prisons in America in his time.
Get yourself. Stay put. Better not try to escape.
Come on, Ben! Let's escape!
Once Abel D. Strait escaped to prison with a few other soldiers, he returned back to active duty, and he went and fought in 2 different battles in Tennessee before he retired from the military. Lavina Strait was Abel's wife, and she was captured by the Confederates 3 times for protesting against what they were doing. She once escaped by pulling a 6-pistol under her coat and forced a guard to drive her away to a place where she could be picked up by someone else.
Lead me away, guard!
This image shows a document written around the time after Abel had escaped at prison, saying words about how he and other prisoners had escaped.
This is the house they lived in and had a family in after the war had ended, and they both lived together and helped families reunite with their veterans like brothers and husbands.
You may not have been able to have seen Abel D. Strait, but now you can see the uniform he wore in the Army at the Hendricks County Historical Museum.
Another artifact at the Hendricks County Museum is a collection of arrowheads.
Some of these arrowheads are long and skinny, and some are wider than others. All of them have different uses though. Some are used as drills to drill into things, and some are used for hunting.
Today, arrowheads can be found in creeks because many natives camped around them for the need of water. Some stone tools and arrowheads can be found here because they could have been left behind, broken, or lost.
These arrowheads are most likely from the Delaware tribe. The Delaware tribe lived in central Indiana, including Hendricks County. They signed a treaty with the U.S. in 1778, meaning these arrowheads could be from the mid-1700s to sometime in the 1800s. During the time they lived here, there were no records of war, so the arrowheads are most likely from hunting or target shooting.
The Delaware Indians originally came from Pennsylvania until William Penn's sons wanted to take their land. The natives did not like this and eventually made an agreement with the sons.
The sons said that whatever distance they could walk in a day and a half is what they would keep. The natives were okay with this idea, but the Penns had a tricky idea in mind.
Penn's sons hired 3 professional walkers to claim as much land as possible. By the end of their time, they had walked 66.5 miles, covering 1,200 square miles from the Delaware tribe, and they did not like this. Their descendants eventually moved out because of the trickery from the settlers.
They kept moving until they reached Indiana and started to settle in Hendricks County. Hendricks County had great resources including oak, elm, hickory, beech, walnut, and maple trees, which they used to build cabins.
In the end, the Delaware tribe finally reached land where they could make a successful settlement. They traded beaver pelts for various European items such as firearms, coffee, sugar, tools, and fabric.
Hey, come here. I think I see some over here.
Hey, I got it!
It's an arrowhead. Pretty old.
Yeah, it looks like something out of a museum.
Yeah, definitely belongs in a museum. The arrowheads were then brought to the Hendricks County Museum where they could be preserved and shown off to the public.
While these arrowheads are thought to be from the Delaware tribe, these arrowheads could be from a tribe that passed through Hendricks County.
One of our artifacts is a military jacket, and this shows that just because the women weren't fighting and traveling with the men, they still had uniforms, strict rules, and other jobs.
Another artifact is brooches that the military men would give the women as they returned home. This gift proved to the women that their men were worthy and loyal even after being away for long periods of time.
These jackets and brooches are significant because they are what the military women wore while working and what they wore while they were in the military. Their uniforms were officially established in 1917.
Before women were officially allowed to fight in the front lines, they were required to clean and take care of houses. This consisted of making sure the soldiers were fed and prepared for war.
Elisa, when's the food going to be done? I need to go. I'm starving.
I'm trying. Yelling won't make it any faster. Here, made you some soup. If you want some more, I have it.
Thanks. Now, can you clean up around the house? It's a bit of a mess.
Going to do that now. Thank you.
Here, take this too. I gotta go.
God, he doesn't do anything around here. Hey, I thought you weren't supposed to be home for another 2 months.
I came home to surprise you early.
Thank you. You're welcome.
In addition to taking care of the men and cleaning up around the house, before they were allowed to fight, they built planes. This provided the men with easy transportation.
Doris, Elisa, come over here. I finished the plane. It's ready to go. I just wanted to make sure you guys checked it first.
It looks good. What is it made out of?
It looks like it's made out of titanium. Yeah, it is. Also, the engines are made out of nickel alloys and turbine blades. That's so cool.
In 1948, women were now officially able to fight in the war. Instead of making planes and boats, they went with the men dressed in brown uniforms to fight in the front lines. Some women served as snipers, bomber pilots, and more. If they were not fighting, they would also nurse the injured and sick.
This is a German helmet from World War I and buttons from World War I that were brought in to the Hendricks County Museum. World War I, also known as the Great War, began in 1914. During the conflict, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and the Ottoman Empire, or known as the Central Powers, fought against Great Britain, France, Russia, Italy, Romania, Japan, and the United States, or the Allied Powers. World War I was a bloody war, killing more than 20 million people.
This is the German helmet which was used in World War I. This helmet was brought home by Paul Herod, who worked for the U.S. Postal Service for 40 years and was an Army veteran of World War I. The German helmet design provided greater protection than those of the Allies and inspired a change in the design of U.S. helmets. This helmet was worn by Buell Jeffries of North Salem during World War I. Buell was a lifetime farmer in North Salem and a World War I veteran.
This specific helmet is called M16 Stahlhelm helmet. Der Stahlhelm means the steel helmet in German. The M16 was made of solid steel sheet with a forged method. There are horns on the side of the helmet, which was used for ventilation and fixed a protective armor plate.
The headrest plate weighed 2.5 kilograms, which is about 5.5 pounds, and was 4 millimeters thick. This plate provided bulletproof protection for the forehead of the soldier from a distance of 50 meters. Due to its heavy weight, it was rarely used and was attached to a helmet with a leather swing. The M16 had a thick leather helmet liner consisting of 3 segments and attached to the helmet with a leather band. On his upcoming skit, you will see a war reenactment of Buell Jeffries being shot and then Paul Herald finding the World War I helmet. Beale Jeffries got shot while he had the M16 Stahlhelm helmet on. Paul Harrod sees his German helmet and picks it up. He then later took it to the Hendricks County Historical Museum.
These World War I buttons were found by Judy Pingle. There are 12 buttons on display in this picture. These buttons represent different roles in the war. The first button is for the medical department. The second button is for the U.S. Regular 36th Regiment. The third button is for the Headquarters 322 Division Artillery. The fourth button is for the D Battalion Machine Gun. The fifth button is for the Gunner Infantry Device. The sixth button is for the C Company Infantry. The seventh button is for the L Company Infantry. The eighth button is for the K Company Infantry. The ninth button is for the Supply Company. The 10th button is for the 121st Infantry Company K. The 11th button is for the 343 Infantry Supply Company. And the 12th button is for the infantry.
The artifact we chose was the Cartersburg spring bottle. The bottle is 10 inches in height, 6 inches in length, and 3 inches in width. The bottle is half a gallon, glassed, and has a black plastic bottle cap. The label on the bottle reads Cartersburg Crystal Spring Water, pure wholesome drinking water, bottled at the Springs, Cartersburg Crystal Springs Incorporated, Indianapolis, Indiana.
The Springs are most famously known for their healing ability with stomach and kidney troubles. They are long known by the Indians for their medical properties of their water, and regarded by them as a special gift from the Great Spirit. There are 5 springs in number, bubbling up from the ground. There is a brick path from spring to spring on the property of the house. It is said that one of the old sycamore trees has Daniel Boone named carved to it.
Not only did Cartersburg provide the people with an amazing spring, they also provided them with a fabulous hotel. The hotel was established in the late 1800s. Many people enjoyed the convenient hotel located so close to the spring. The hotel could accommodate as many as 100 guests. The hotel held many fashionable gatherings and gala occasions. In those days, Cartersburg was where people went to be social. They had large dining rooms and lots of space that the guests loved. People also adored the food made at the Cartersburg Spring Hotel. The hotel even had a farmhouse.
Half a mile from the Cartersburg station, 17 miles from the Bourbon station, these springs are celebrated for the cure of stomach and kidney troubles. Long known by the Indians for their medical properties of the water, and regarded as a special gift from the Great Spirit. If you want to stay at these springs at the hotel, they can accommodate up to 100 guests. Miracle water for a miracle stay.
Wow, before I had the water from the Cartersburg Spring, my stomach and kidney troubles were just terrible. Now, like magic, not a problem in the world. Cartersburg Spring water is healing and great tasting. If you have any questions about the water, give me a call today at 317-299-9911. Yep, you can call me night or day.
I wonder if the water is actually magical. I wonder if they're telling the truth. I think I might give them a call. Let's see if I can remember that number. Hello? Hi, my name is Jasleen. Does this Cartersburg Spring water actually work? Does it actually heal all your stomach and kidney problems?
Oh, hello. Yes, of course. The Cartersburg Spring water is the best water I've ever had. I haven't met a single customer who doesn't love it. Plus, the water completely fixed my health issues. So yes, I definitely recommend the Cartersburg Spring water.
Well, that's just great. I think I'm going to go and purchase it right now. Bye now. Is the Cartersburg Spring water for sale here?
Yes, I have the Cartersburg Spring water. It's a pure, wholesome drinking water.
Okay, well, how much is it?
Don't worry, it's on the house.
Oh, really? Bye-bye kidney troubles.
Wait, don't you want to stay at our hotel? We have not only a health resort, but it's a beautiful summer resort. We have a bowling alley. We also have a fashionable game of croquet.
and our baths are 25 cents and 50 cents with a combination. Our meals are 40 to 50 cents, and our rooms are $1.50 and $7 to $8 per week.
I think I'm fine. I live 20 minutes away from here, and plus I have a bowling alley in my basement. Thank you for asking, though. Bye.
Hardtack was a hard, thick cracker used in the military. This is the food that the soldiers from Hendricks County would eat in Company A during the Civil War. It was made from flour, water, and salt. Each piece was about 75 calories, and it took at least 4 hours to bake in a 250-degree oven. Today, you can make it in about an hour and 10 minutes at 400 degrees. This is what made it so hard. It was also used because it was nutritious and easy to produce. It was also easily mass-produced because of the simple recipe. Some other foods that the soldiers would eat with hardtack were pork and beef. One of the most popular drinks was coffee. They would also eat dried fruit and vegetables if they were in season. The cracker was 3 by 3 inches, and it weighed about a half a pound. It was invented in 1792 when Theodore Pearson discovered the recipe in his kitchen.
It was perfect because it would stay good for a long time. It was nutritious, and it went well with almost any meal. He knew that this would help soldiers make it through the horribly gruesome war that the Civil War was. This was one of the most destructive wars in American history. Hardtack is good because it was tough food for a tough job. Back then, they would say the cracker was so hard it could break your teeth. Since hardtack was very hard to chew, the soldiers and others would call it tooth breakers, tooth dullers, sheet iron crackers, dog biscuits, cabin bread, pilot bread, sea bread, warm castles, Anzac wafers, and Muller breakers. To make them softer to eat, they would dunk them in coffee, bacon grease, or their pork soup. Some of the men tried to alter their rock-hard consistency by smashing them with the rifle butts and mixing river water to make them a mush. Also, when the hardtack got moldy, the soldiers didn't really care and just cut the mold off. The average amount of calories of a person during the Civil War was about 1,800. The soldiers ate about 2,900 calories.
This is the old Hendricks County Jail on Washington Street in Danville, Indiana. There are female and male cell blocks where inmates were held. The cell block in which the female inmates were held could only capacitate 2 at a time, while the male side of the jail had space for 16 men at a time. They originally slept on hammocks, but soon switched to the mattresses on steel racks. Their cells weren't extremely secure, but they were good for their time. There is 1 shower and 1 toilet for each cell block. This jail is unique because the sheriff and his family lived just above it. Many high-profile criminals were held there, like Charles Manson and William E. Henshaw. One of the most famous female inmates is Evelyn Frechette, better known as Billy.
Evelyn was born to a Native American mother and a French father in Neopit, Wisconsin. She lived on the Menominee Reservation until she was 13 years old. She moved away and went to school to become a nurse. Once she graduated from nursing school, she moved to Chicago to be closer to her sister. After she moved, she began seeing Weldon Sparks. He was a criminal and would be eventually imprisoned for his crimes.
That same year, she met and fell in love with bank robber John Dillinger. Of Dillinger's many crimes, she was only involved in 1. Frechette was Dillinger's getaway driver. She claimed he bought her all the things she could ever want or need with the money he stole and treated her like a lady. After the 1 crime that Billy was involved in, Dillinger got shot, and she drove him to the hospital where he was treated, then arrested.
After Dillinger was arrested, he was sent to Hendricks County Jail, where his wife, Evelyn Frechette, helped him with his escape. She gave him money and maps so that he could bribe the guards and make an escape route.
See you, Big John.
That was such a risky escape, John. Now you get to be free with me.
Of course, dear.
Man, you're under arrest for harboring a fugitive and also for being a getaway driver.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about. This is preposterous, I tell you. Preposterous.
We'll see about preposterous in court. Ready to get moved to federal prison?
Nothing I can do to stop you, I suppose.
You're gonna miss my wife's home cooked meals. You don't get this out of prison where you're going.
Well, anything's better than that, sloth.
Time to go for shit. Let's get this show on the road, shall we?
Evelyn Frechette died on January 13th, 1969, at the age of 61 due to cancer.
So, our artifact is called the Manet Ball. It is a special bullet that was used heavily in the Civil War. It aided both sides, the Confederacy and the Union. So, our story begins.
On November 6, 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected as the 16th President of the United States. He is the first Republican that openly admits to being against slavery. This makes the southern states unhappy, leading to South Carolina to secede from the Union. This started a domino effect that led 6 more southern states to secede. They were Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas. With all of these 7 states now seceded, they start a new government on their own. Jefferson Davis is appointed as their first president.
The war officially begins when the southern states attack Fort Sumter, South Carolina. Lincoln declares an insurrection and calls for 75,000 militia to go in and fight the rebellion. In recent news, newly mounted President Abraham Lincoln has called for 75,000 male adults to help the militia as reinforcements. Included in these adults is the owner of the Pittsburgh Cotton Mill, Christian DeVault.
In 1849, a man named Claude Etienne Manet created a bullet that he named the Manet Ball after him.
These bullets are not as good as I think they should be. They don't travel through the air very well, and they have a horrendously low amount of range. How to change that? Oh, what if we started making bullets that were shaped kind of more like cones? They could also be made out of lead. They can also have these little grooves at the bottom of the bullet that better engage the rifling. Oh, yes. That's it, I got it. They shall become, henceforth, the Manet Balls. I gotta get this to Lincoln somehow.
The bullet proved to be lethally accurate over long distances. Both the Confederate States and the Union used these bullets in their muzzle-loading rifles because they were by far the most accurate bullets to date. Before the Manet Ball, muzzle-loading rifles were not used on the battlefield because of the difficulty to load them. This was because ammunition needed rifling to be used to be effective. Also, it was often extremely difficult to jam the bullets in due to the fact that the old bullets had to be equal in diameter to the barrel. However, the Manet Balls were known for being one of the first bullets to expand as it leaves the barrel. The bullet also made the barrel much less dirty after firing. The science behind how the Manet Ball worked was that when it was fired, the muzzle-loading rifles would engage the rifling, causing the Manet Ball to spin and make it more accurate over long distances. The bullet was able to do this due to its ability to expand under the pressure that the rifling gave it, making it also go much faster than the other bullets that were used and hit a higher velocity.
Our artifact is not an object, but a major event in local history. This event was undoubtedly the most disturbing and surprising event that has ever happened in Belleville. It all started with one dirty incident and ended with a bloodbath that we refuse to forget.
In July of 1865, William Henshaw was born in Randolph County to the parents of Jacob B. Henshaw and Mary M. Carter/Henshaw. Not much is known about his childhood, but we do know he married Thurza Euler Henshaw on February 24, 1887.
William Henshaw ran for state representative and lost. He then moved to Belleville and became a Methodist pastor. Reverend William Henshaw was a prestigious member of society and was held in high esteem by the town of Belleville.
After he became a minister in 1894, William and Thurza moved to Belleville, Indiana into a Methodist parsonage. Mr. and Mrs. Henshaw were known as a perfect couple by all of their peers. But less than a year later, on January 10, 1895, their marriage took a sharp turn for the worst.
On January 10, 1895, William woke up early in the morning before the sun came out over the horizon. He went and got his revolver and shot Thurza in the head while she was laying on the bed, asleep. After this, William shot himself twice with the revolver and cut himself 17 times with a razor.
Mr. Henshaw then ran out of the parsonage, screaming, which then awoke his neighbors. He stated that 2 people had broken into the parsonage and wounded his wife.
Later on in the case, it was shown that there could have been a mistress involved, which would be a motive to get rid of the wife. We also believe that his wife had actually found out about the mistress, further showing that William killed his wife Thurza. After this knowledge came out, he finally decided to confess to the murder of his wife, Thurza Euler Henshaw. William Henshaw was then sent to a Michigan City prison and was sentenced to life in prison. After only serving 10 years of his sentence, he was paroled by Governor W.T. Durbin.
This was also supported because there was a sighting of a buggy by their house that left shortly after all this happened. At first, there was really no evidence before that proved he killed his wife. This is why most people thought that someone killed his wife and had tried to kill him.
After this, all of the courts that they went to settle this case struggled with finding out if he was guilty or not. Mr. Henshaw's defense stated that in the morning, 2 people came into their house, killed his wife, and tried to kill him. This could be true because of all his cuts and gun wounds that were present.
Not too long after being a free man, Mr. Henshaw started a romantic relationship with the sheriff's wife. Not too long after, he was caught in a hotel room with her and was arrested again.
After a couple of months of serving his second sentence, he was paroled by Governor James P. Goodrich, who was a lifelong friend of William.